This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCast. Time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast episode 769. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, ready to hang out with you guys this week. And we also have with us from the Pod Cave is Dave Podnar.
How you doing today, Sorg?
You did a lot of visual movements. You know, there's an audio podcast too, right?
Well, I know, but there are a few people who watch us live, and enticement for people. If you're interested in watching live, you're missing something.
There you go. That's the dead air. That's what we're doing. Katie's out on assignment today, but she did bring some show and tell. You know what? I should probably just present this as her awesome thing of the week. So we'll get to that after we get through ours. Okay, Dave? So
sounds good.
Dave, you want to hear about my trip last week? The reason we had to do the show on Monday?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So we had a last minute. I went to Indianapolis or West Lafayette, Purdue University, ran into friends on the plane going to Detroit. A friend of ours from the Russell world actually moved out to Lafayette, and we were in West Lafayette. So it was a lot of fun there. But the reason I went is there was a program that we first talked about after last year's, one of the last year's Formula SAE programs. And I'm excited that we're going to be presenting a little bit of what's going to be coming up with that. It's called the SAE Civic Progress Challenge. And it was where engineering meets accessible mobility. So you can all go ahead and read up on it to begin with over on SAE.org, of course. So this was a pretty cool thing. Again, we talked about it. I know Katie brought it up on the show before because I know she's really interested in accessibility technology and everything like that. So the big thing is they're giving these cruise vehicles. I believe it's the GM Wave is what it's called, and it's one of those like mobile, autonomous vehicles that Cruise was working on. I don't think they actually got rolled out to the public before. I think Cruise is pretty much, to my knowledge, I think it's kind of mostly folded as a division right now. So they're going other ways with the autonomous and everything like that. But in the meantime, they do have these vehicles, and what they've been doing is giving them to with an RFP and everything as part of the competition. It's kind of a virtual competition, but you do get a physical vehicle. I have a little bit of footage from our preview that we were working on for this, so I can help demonstrate this a little bit too. But yeah, it's just to give you a quick idea. The idea is they're giving these as kind of a starting point, like an actual functional vehicle, and like I said, purely automated. It's got two kind of bench seats, on either side of the main part here. And as you can see there, as part of this, there's audio there. That was my preview. But anyways, and the idea is they're going to make it more accessible, more handicap accessible, more wheelchair accessible, and be able to, at least theoretically build around it. This is a virtual challenge, so this isn't showing up in one place and showing what you've done with this vehicle as with a lot of the other ones. So I thought that was kind of a cool, different, a different kind of challenge than we typically see, obviously, with a lot of these competitions that we see with the Baja and the Formulas and the Arrows, even the Auto Drive, there's a lot of virtual there, but they do get out on track up there in M City. Looking forward to get up there once again this year for that, actually. So I just wanted to kind of bring some attention to that. It's a new one. They're accepting, I think the deadlines are sometime in mid-April for schools that want to get involved in something like this. And I got to talk with a lot of the students and the faculty at Purdue University around it. So it's a really kind of, they're very excited about the possibilities, what the students are going to be able to do around this concept. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing. So if you're out there in a school, student, engineering, and again, another way that they're kind of, inventing new ways for the students to get involved around this. We saw the mini Baja cars last year, for instance, like a kind of scaled down version of what they do at these competitions. Again, adding accessibility and another aspect on things like this, right? So that's pretty cool. So again, it's the Civic Progress. Hold on, I'm gonna get the full name here. So I've been shorthanding it with everything, like, the Civic as we're doing emails, as we were kind of in the middle of the SAE Civic Progress Challenge is what it's called. You can check that out over on SAE.org under the student programs, it's technically under the SAE University Programs header there. So and stay tuned on the TikTok and the Instagram for it in the future too. I'm sure we'll end up doing a podcast on it with their beyond the competition or something as it rolls out too. So looking forward to that. Videos in progress. I'm hoping that that's up there in the next couple of weeks and everybody can see a little bit more about what we captured here in our trip to Lafayette, Indiana. This last week. So and we also had an opportunity to check out the workshops for Baja and Formula. We kind of had a last minute visit that we dropped in for. They do a little bit of a workshop tour and visit and interview with some of the crew out there. There's a really fun crew. They have a lot of go-karts in the facility, because I guess there's a big go-kart competition that happens that a lot of things are in the garage where they're kind of like everybody has their section.
Okay.
We talked to IC
for the university.
Well, for like kind of those engineering programs like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're in like a little business park or something, and
oh wow,
have a big garage space there, and it's just like, hey, Baja's here in this section, Formula IC's in this, Formula EV's in this. Formula EV was not there for interview. Just saying.
Oh.
So
you got to show up. You got to show up.
The students were giving them a lot of shade for that, but not that we were really getting much advance notice. Hell, we didn't have much advance notice for coming out in general. So, but yeah, it was a last minute kind of step in for something like that. So that was pretty good there. So
it's always neat to see what the individual universities have for facilities for the students, because now I'm going back 20 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on. I'm doing math here. I'm going back 30 years.
Okay.
When I was at WVU. Mm-hmm. And they had a Baja, they had the mini Formula, but it was all on the engineering campus. Mm-hmm. And there was a fabrication area kind of in the basement where, they would build everything. But at the time, it wasn't as big and extensive as what they have. Just because of space, honestly. There wasn't a lot of space on campus where you could, have its own little section for, you have that here, you have that. I don't know what they have now.
Well, it depends. It depends school to school. Michigan University obviously has a really big facility with a lot of stuff in it, and fab shops and everything like that. There was a building at University of Penn out there in Philadelphia, and really kind of felt like everybody had a closet. But it was a big old building, even like the aero design team was basically sharing a classroom and had to clear their stuff out because classes are still in that classroom, but it's where they would meet for it. And they had a closet where they stored everything and everything like that. UCLA had a nice little space with a courtyard and things that was part of this giant building that had a bunch of research stuff in it, so roomy enough for working on these cars, but definitely, not incredibly spacious, I would imagine, but workshop wise, UCLA I think had more, because I feel like they had some common spaces with some of the other clubs or something too. So, but again, like the Baja Formula, like a lot of these are like right next to each other, for a lot of these cases. Mm-hmm. So like they're not even like split up in most cases. So, but I'm sure that's really great for camaraderie in engineering and things like that too. Across the board. So, and we explore that a lot. We get a lot of that conversation around the interviews that we end up doing with the students on location. So, but looking forward to that. Aero Design's coming up, not this weekend, next weekend, down there in Lakeland, Florida. Looking forward to get down there. Haven't been to Lakeland for 2 years for that competition. They had a year off, because they rotate. So looking forward to that and see, how that goes, seeing that crew, the Lockheed Martin crew that operates that and everything too. So getting the travel season. The travel season is officially starting here, starting next week, Dave, which means keep an eye out for program notes.
Hotel time. It's hotel time.
There's some hotel time. I think there's a second I think there's a second week in April. We may not be able to do the shows because I'll be I don't know where I'm going to be that day in Tucson. So that's coming up. So we'll you know.
Well, also those West Coast trips are I can imagine a little bit more problematic because
Absolutely.
if you're on East Coast time, you're pretty much wrapped up for the day. By 7 o'clock or later for mayhem.
They're like
versus Arizona's like it was 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
we're still got tons of stuff going on.
They're like, we're meeting on Tuesday, and I'm like, oh great. If I want to do my podcast, it's going to be like at 2 in the afternoon or something. Or actually no, their time zones are weird there, so I don't know what time it's going to be that time of year because they don't observe daylight savings in the same way, if I'm not mistaken, in that area of Arizona. But either way, that's not here for there. We're not the time zone show, so keep an eye out for that. Dave, what is your thing of the week? Maxed out.
Also, to give a teaser for the Patreon part, I will have a soapbox to get on.
Oh no!
So a teaser for our Patreon.
Is it related? Is it related to your awesome thing?
No, it is not.
Okay.
No. It's related to my alma mater.
Okay.
So this is now I'll start off. The person who did this was a software engineer. Mm-hmm. So this isn't the story of someone who had no idea what they were doing vibe coding and breaking in. But he had one of these robot sweepers you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. This is from DJI. And he wanted to see, could he hack into it so he could remote control or, hack into the system? He found out he was able to hack into his own, but he was also at the same time, because he was hacking in via their central server, he gained control of 7,000 robots in 24 nations.
I heard about this, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just... Now, he did the responsible thing. Mm-hmm. He went to The Verge, large thing. He said, I found this. They said, okay, can you test it with one of ours? So he said, okay. He found the number. He went in. He said, okay, here's the camera from your robot, and now I have control of it. Mm-hmm. And the company said, we fixed it. We fixed it. And then it came back later like, not quite. You may be working on a fix, but it's not fixed yet. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things of, if there's something in your house with a camera on it, just be careful where the camera is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I will say this is not, and this will be sensationalized by people. This isn't someone who did this and then posted salacious pictures of people from using their robot vacuum. Could, if someone's interested, but this is something where someone tried it. They had to have knowledge. This isn't like because I'm sure, when technology, and this is true with technology, medicine, science, when it goes from reporters who are used to reporting on these specialized fields and it goes to the general public, it gets completed down, it gets, smoothed out, and then the headline writers get involved, and then they have to sensationalize it for reasons.
Yeah, so it's good to know let's talk
what's involved and what isn't.
We're talking in the facts here of this case.
Exactly.
So, and again, this is somebody who thankfully was not, he was just kind of like, hey, I found this thing, and then realized how deep it went. So, and this is from a company I would consider DJI a very reputable company when it comes to robotics and things like that. Plenty of people that use their devices, including drones and such. So, it's kind of a surprising thing. But again, I think, generally I would say these things happen, but also these kinds of things are happening with devices that are less reputable. We talk about, hey, maybe not get those things that off Chinese brand thing if it has connectivity for your home and security and cameras off of Amazon, because who knows if it's going to be supported and updated, right? So,
but I will say, like I said, this is DJI. This is a, and I'm assuming it's the same DJI that has the drones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So
it's everything. We were using a DJI microphone the other day. Like they do everything.
This is not necessarily a cheap product either.
No.
So
and that's everything. There's security flaws with everything. So it's kind of more of an awareness case on there. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's been a big story from the week. And I mean, kind of watch out for those kinds of things, right? So, yep.
Yeah, and I mean, just to know, it looks like I'm trying to see if it's available yet or not. I see it just says coming soon. So I was just trying to see, was it available yet? Then at least that's from the DJI. The one thing that is kind of funny is how he kind of hooked into it was he hooked up the vacuum cleaner to his PS5 controller.
And the whole thing. Did you mention the cloud code of this?
Well, I just said he was doing vibe coding. I didn't say
so. We haven't talked about cloud code and vibe code a lot on this show. So let's give you some background, because I listened to a lot about this kind of stuff. So when we talk vibe coding, that means you go to something like Claude Code, and this is just like you're in ChatGPT. Like I think you have to get a higher end ChatGPT to do a version, but Claude Code is kind of one of those things. It's Anthropic, their Claude platform, right? So the idea is you say, I want to create a program that does this, maybe using this language or something like that. And based on, everything it's read, it's looking at all the databases, or it's looking at all the GitHubs, and, I don't know what all it looks at, but the idea is more or less it should be able to develop your app pretty easily, right? And give you something. And the other thing that we're using this for is looking at applications like this and say, are there any holes in this? So basically what he had done, according to this article, you have an article link from The Guardian here for us today. He used the AI coding assistant, and he asked it to reverse engineer how the home robot vacuum communicated with the DJI's remote cloud servers. This opened it up for the controlling via the PlayStation 5, which I believe was the goal of this, right? And in the process of that, discovered this hole, right? And this is where it's, okay, it's a little scary, but also they talk about how quick it is to find holes in software using this AI that would take you forever to go through all those lines of codes and everything, right? So this is an application of AI to find flaws in software, ideally with the idea of patching them, but obviously this could be also used for the ability to take advantage of such things as well. So it's a with the good and the bad, but either way, you do have something that will find flaws, which I'm going to call a net good, because enough of the good guys are looking at this, which means the good guys can be sitting here looking at this stuff, putting it through something like a Claude Code, finding holes to patch before the bad guys find them. And even if they can do it quick, you can still do it quick as well. So I think it's added a new layer on the Cold War between White Hat and Black Hat hackers at this point, right? The patchers and the patchies, So I think that's a really good kind of progress for that. So there you go, a good example of that. So not entirely all scary. All right, here's the fun one. This is Katie. I'm going to call this Katie's awesome thing of the week, because she grabbed this for us last week. We had, the hot girls run on Dunkin and things like that, right? Well, Dunkin officially, apparently they sent a promo out that I missed last week, where they were giving out, listen, it might be cold outside, but maybe you still need, there's that whole thing in Boston about how everybody drinks iced coffee regardless of how cold the weather is. And so they gave, I think it was about 10 per, it was kind of a timed release, and about 10 per location, but they were giving away your iced coffee glove.
Oh, and you got one.
And Katie got one out there, and for us here in the studio. So this is it. It's one left-handed glove. I don't know if they're just giving it. Maybe they had the right-handeds as well, and they're giving them out randomly. But we got one very nice, very soft and comfortable left-handed glove, mitten, if you will, for drinking your iced coffee. Now I got my my brewed, hot coffee today. I mean, I'm not burning.
Now, does the mitten have any grippers on the inside?
There are no grippers on the inside.
There's no
nothing.
Sticky. Okay.
No. This is a standard mitten, standard pink Dunkin branded mitten right here. So there you go, just for your iced coffee drinking. I think you did have to buy an iced coffee that day when they did this. This was last Thursday or Friday that this happened. So that is tremendous. And of course, there are things like it's going viral. People doing videos. Apparently, people, I guess they're finding other uses for it, like, playing with your cat or something like that.
Yeah.
So
cats would love that. Yeah,
absolutely. So Dunkin has been going crazy with stuff. She didn't even get her free mug, 90s style Dunkin' Donuts mug from Super Bowl Sunday yet. And now there's one of these things. So Dunkin's on something else right now. So, and even the the hot girls run on Dunkin', like my wife went by like later that day trying to get it. She ordered the same drink and everything, and there's a stack of them, and there's just like, nope, you don't get a cup. It was only for that hour or whatever that they were doing it. They're only giving so many away, even though they were there. It's a really, they're I'm sure the managers love this, by the way. So to add a little, and every time this happens, it's in the wake of the honey bear cup from Starbucks, where there was barely any and they were sold out before people got there, and there was like a whole scandal over this thing. And I feel like Dunkin's like, yeah, we're gonna do this right, and we're gonna do a lot more of it, right, kind of thing. So it's gotten interest. They get their social media out of it, and they do, and it's fun. If you're a Dunkin' fan, it is kind of fun. So that was the Dunkin' mitten. The Dunkin' mitten. It's a left-handed mitten in this other image too, I believe too. So wait. Let me double check. Yeah, okay, that matches that picture. Okay. I thought I saw a right-handed one. If you have a right-handed Dunkin' mitten, please hit us up. AwesomeCast on all the social medias. I did just double check to make sure to see if there was anything on Dunkin' runs on merch site. But no, they do have stickers, a pouch, t-shirts, hat, keychains, and a ski suit. Here's a Dunkin' ski suit.
Yes, scroll down a bit there.
Oh boy,
$150.
That's not bad for a ski suit, probably, right?
And it comes up in 2X size.
Oh,
which is a major deal because so many times things only go to like extra large or large.
It seems like that could be a Sorg or a Katie.
And it's sold out. Well, that's sold out. Oh no, 2X is sold out. 2X is sold out, and small is sold out. But
it's always the way. That's two sides of the spectrum. Anyways, that is our. That volume's all over the place. I don't know what to do about it. Hey, our buddy Chachi also chimed in for his video game minute. Let's go see what he's got in store for us.
Hey kids, welcome back to the Chachi Says Video Game Minute. We once again have to say goodbye to an icon in gaming this week. Gaming lost another great. Hideki Saito, the lead designer of some of the iconic Sega hardware, passed away earlier this month. He worked for Sega from 1971 to 2008, becoming acting president eventually. Saito was the designer behind many of the Sega arcade machines, as well as the consoles that we all know, the Genesis, Saturn, and Dreamcast. After his time at Sega, he went on to become a professor at Tokyo University of Science, where he lectured on engineering and the history of gaming. Hideki passed away at his home. He was 75. Thanks for watching this week's Chachi Says Video Game Minute. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Chachi, for that update. Okay, for the second half here. Oh, hey, let's give a shout out to our friends at patreon.com/awesomecast. We've been trying to do a little more concise Patreons lately, and of course sharing those a little bit. So look out for that. Podnar has a little bit of a soapbox to get on here that we teased later today, so we'll be getting into that. Again, we kind of try to stay positive on the main show, and we get a little more real on the after talk for the Awesome Cast. Thank everybody who does support the show, though. Brian Crawford, Cynthia Klosky, John DeGore, and Dave Potter. Who you can use as code DAVE26 at gcxc.com/eventspa for a discounted registration for races. So you can be a racer and look in a medal collector like Dave. Look at all that.
Here we go. Yep, this is the races coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. These are the past medals I've had since 2020. This is the spring thaw, which has 5 mile, 10 mile, 15 mile, and 20 mile.
Nice.
Depending on how many late laps we want to do around North Park.
Excellent. So there you go. A lot of fun stuff happening there. So, oh man, you know what? Mostly the Olympics has been like delightful. Like a lot of feel good stories coming out of there. America's doing pretty good. Did pretty good. I guess we're past it right now. So. Right, for and only mild controversy. So,
and honestly, the biggest controversy in game, I should say, in an event, was Canada maybe double touching their stones.
Oh, you can't be double touching the stones.
Nope. There's a line,
and apparently,
once you pass that line, you cannot touch the stone.
Apparently, a really interesting exchange between them. I thought I caught on social media too. So,
that's something interesting about curling is that it's really self officiated, where you're supposed to say, "Oop, I did this wrong," and then you go to the other team and say, "I did this," and the other team could say, "You know what? It didn't affect anything. We'll let it pass," or, "Oh no, you did that. That's against the rules. We're gonna." You should, if you do mess up and do something that, is against the rules, you're supposed to come out and be friendly and say, "Oh, by the way, I accidentally did this," and their team will look at it and decide what the penalty is. Where this case, Canada said, "We didn't do anything. We didn't say anyone touched the stone by nope, nothing happened." And that was the big issue.
Got a little weird.
Oh, yes.
So first of all, the girl that won the gold medal for figure skating has been is like the positive, the story about her, about how she had left because she was like 14, 16, something like that, and said, "I'm not going to have a life," left, came back, and says, "I'm just here to perform," and just ends up, it's like a great thing for mindfulness and stuff. There's another one, I think she might be Chinese or something, that's been in my feed a whole lot. She had a great mindset. Like I shared this all to the Fishing Without Bait. They were asking her, like, "You really answer stuff really quick. I want to know about how your head works." And she talked about how much she journals and gets her thoughts together and things and is analytical and things like that. And so I thought that was really fascinating. But let's get into the fun part here. Because this is the one that really, of course, there was the Minion figure skater that was kind of fighting with Universal NBC, which is funny since they're on Peacock, to get the music to do their Minion piece that was very costume heavy. I don't know if this is a category with figure skating or anything like that, but there is a couple figure skating where they did a Mortal Kombat routine that is tremendous. I will not show you this because even the drone that Dave had me use off of the official Olympics on Instagram may have gotten our YouTube kind of flagged. So we're not going to play with that too much, but maybe this little TikTok might be okay. It's probably already too much. So there is a whole fight with a finisher moment at the end. So that kind of gives you the idea. I thought that was tremendous. It definitely caught the general internet by storm on that, and obviously a little bit of play in that little tweet that we just showed on the screen as well. So I keep missing everything except for where were they from? Are they American? These got to be Americans, right?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No.
I wouldn't say. I just definitely, let's see here.
Georgia. They're from
Georgia,
the country of Georgia.
Yes. The country of Georgia, which is it used to be it used to be part of the Soviet Union, and it's kind of I want to say it's very east, so it's like the Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, that kind of area, like north of Iran part. And yeah, I mean, that is hilarious. One thing I don't know when this was added, but the exhibition dances and skates. So it's like, okay, medals are over, everyone's done competing, go out there and have some fun. And that's when you saw like the person with the minion. And
so these are non-competitive for the Olympics.
Right. This is, the competition's over, everyone's done. This is the exhibition gala.
Okay.
So this is when you can go off and literally, you figure these people have been probably for most of their life getting ready for the Olympics. Now it's like, breathe, you're done, and you got started in skating because apparently you enjoyed it. Just have fun.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I saw someone do it was a thing where a lot of people were comparing it to I'm trying to remember the parody skating movie Blades of Steel.
Blade of Glory, or
Blades of Glory, yeah. Where there was one
thing, the figure skating girls were like trying to think who was which person from that movie amongst them. Was a whole adorable thing that was happening at one of the press conferences.
So I mean, this is the fun part. Now,
Blades of Glory is the film from 2007.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell and John Heater.
Oh God, yes. The movie that came out 5 years. No. What do you mean? It was 18 years ago.
Yes. Anyways.
But no, I mean, honestly, this is the fun part of the whole Olympic thing too. It's amazing what they can do in terms of skill and the amount of practice and dedication. But you also like to see people have fun. And I think, like you said, there was so much fun in this Olympics.
There was, and I feel like so much we kind of need it. I didn't hear a lot of the negativity around some of the things that were very, positive for certain groups and everything like that. So, that's good to see. So we didn't have, it didn't get weird, guys. It was kind of a fun experience for a couple weeks, and everybody was it was nice. It was nice for the world to be enamored with something that wasn't so laden with like all the terribleness that's happening right now and the arguing and everything like that. So, I mean, I'm sure if you were on certain platforms, that didn't change. But generally you could choose to follow this collectively with the world for a little bit, and it was kind of a nice change of pace. So, but anyways. Also, in the pure joy, I want to talk about New York City because, hey, there was a big blizzard. We had our turn. It's theirs now. Also, one of them was for the first time, I think ever, the entirety of the state of New Jersey was under a blizzard warning. That's wild. So, and also how, but I thought there was, when this happened like a month ago, we got hit by the same blizzard like in January, right? That really big,
very similar.
Very similar, right? And that was like, I remember seeing like, we were talking about how like trucks are so, we've lost half of our fleet of trucks because they're all in disrepair here in Pittsburgh, for instance, right? And meanwhile, like in New York City, obviously, and when I say this, I know there's a vast difference in scales of what they have for what they need to cover in their resources for what Pittsburgh needs to cover in their resources available, right? So they were retrofitting garbage trucks with plows to help cover the city. and help, beef up what their abilities for a couple days. So, there's other things they were doing. Like I saw there was recruitment for snow shovelers. You can go to their department of services, public services, and pick one up, and they were doing like $30 an hour and all that kind of stuff, right? They're, they and I just love little innovations. Like even like back when like Peduto was the mayor here in Pittsburgh, and talking about like, hey, we have a snowplow tracker, so you can know exactly what's going on with this and everything like that. It's probably the last time we were updated, honestly, for things like that. Or even like, how you can track all the buses and trains, on the apps to see what's going on with them here in the city too. So one of them that came up here was they mentioned geotagging. I was kind of curious about it, and the local news did do a little bit of a story on it, talking about the whole idea is you put a geotag on each of the bus stops, right? And the idea was, somebody can go clear one, but you don't know what it has and has not been touched. Think of the snowplow tracker. So if somebody goes out, a worker, somebody with the public works or something, and they clear it, now you've tagged it. Now it goes into a database, they just tagged it with their phone, goes into a thing, and now somewhere is a central database to know what has and has not been touched. There's a little bit of like, especially some places where it's the responsibility of the, landlord or property owner. And as we know here in Pittsburgh, that does not mean it gets done. Right. So they're like, well, we're just taking care of it because we need to make sure it's done. And that's a public, a public safety issue. Yeah. So, and that's, and you can say, well, what about the responsibility of the owners? Like, that's the thing we'll deal with. We have to get through the damn blizzard. Hey, you don't just sit there and watch somebody burn because they're not, and affecting everybody around them. You take care of the problem, and then if you want to, then you talk about what you're going to do about the people that didn't take care of this afterwards. You don't just sit in the corner and be right and watch everybody fall on their ass. Okay, like no, you fucking take care of it. Sorry. There's a lot of politics going around in this studio lately, and I've been really, really hot about some things. People that complain about things more than actually executing things. But anyways, so either way, one way or another, I like to see that there is some proactiveness and messaging. Obviously it comes across my stuff because what happens in New York is kind of a lot of people's attention because of the new mayor and everything. But it has brought some things to the forefront, and also a little bit of a go to your own municipality and say, why aren't we doing this? Because this is our problem too. And we don't have, I always say they're like, we're Dormont, a mile down the road here. Oh, they always got their snow cleared. Yeah. Cause they have a square mile of municipality. It's kind of easier for them to handle than the city of Pittsburgh. Okay. So there's a scale problem. You want to live in a city, you're going to have city problems. Okay. So that's, again, some positivity coming out of New York. And also, okay, don't throw snowballs at the police unless they seem like they're down with it. Okay, that's first of all, because apparently that was a little bit of an issue coming up here. And I'm like, wait, are they mad about it, or like were they? But no, they were just like really just kind of attacking them with snowballs when they were trying to. But just people snowboarding in Central Park. The giant, I couldn't find the video again, but there was a giant snowball fight. I think that's what the cops were probably responding to, honestly. And they're building snowmen, and they're just giant groups gathered in Central Park enjoying the massive snowness that's going on right now. And then and then beyond that, I even got a video when I was kind of settled on the New York City angle. Somebody, there's the wonderful mayor of Boston, who I think is hilarious sometimes, is like, hey, don't go outside unless there's a reason to. And then there's a bunch of Star Wars fans with their lightsabers in the snow in the park just having a blast. And looking amazing. It's kind of like our friend, the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin Shane, that we had recently on Fishing Without Bait, who, by the way, now is a member of the Savannah Bananas as one of the firemen team. Mr. November, I think they call him now. He just reported and started with them this week. But when we had the blizzard here, he got into an ATV, really nice big ATV, and they were just tearing through the downtown streets of Pittsburgh, and out by PNC Park and everything like that. So nobody was out there. You can have a little more fun with it. So I thought that was cool. Looked like they're staying mostly safe out there. So and again, that's one of those, like, it reminds you why it's cool to be in a city, because you can just kind of gather up and have these cool experiences like this, right?
Yeah.
So, oh man, that's good. Good snow stories this week. So,
no, and also, I just did a quick look, and it said the 14,000 plus bus stops in New York City, and I was curious how many bus stops are in Pittsburgh.
And that'd be greater Pittsburgh across the county, I would hope.
Yeah. So this is the number of bus stops at Pittsburgh Regional Transit. Still feels weird to say that instead of PATH Transit.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Has 7,000 bus stops throughout Pittsburgh and Allegheny County.
And how many were in New York City?
14,000.
14,000, and that's so. Also, I want to make sure we're talking like that's just
New York City.
New York City,
right.
Versus we have 7,000 across the county. That's like significantly more.
Exactly.
I think significantly more space than the city of New York.
Yeah, you figure now. It's always hard to count how many people when they say people from a city, because it's a city. Is it the metropolitan area? Is it blah, 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 whatever? But New York has around 10 million people.
Yeah, presumably
Allegheny County's, or at least
Presumably, we're talking about the boroughs. So
right. But Allegheny County has barely over 1 million.
Yeah.
So for 10 times the people, you have half the spots. Like you said, it's a lot more spread.
And this has been, precisely what I was talking about with that. Over by the Rite Aid that's been out for a while, over by Coons on Banksville Road. I'm getting very localized right now. That's one of the places where, property owners absolutely vacant. I don't know who owns the property now, but there's a significant bus stop there for school and business people. And it has not been cleared and it's been dangerous. So now this town, people are proposing a pedestrian safety plan for snowstorms. Yes, but unfortunately, it's one of those things where we're doing it now. It might be another decade before we get a storm like this, for all we know, or it could be next week, for all we know. So like it's we gotta wait for something terrible to happen to figure out a solution to it. So, it's but this is living in a society, I suppose. So, here's a fun one then, where I know you have a segment here we'll get to. So we've had some of the magazines. I don't know, we got on a list. We're starting to get some of those Red Bull magazines for a little bit there. But this is one that came up over on The Verge when I was looking through today. This takes me back to a little bit of the we're going to put a Raspberry Pi in a magazine kind of situation, right? So Game Pop, which is a magazine done as part of Red Bull's Bulletin magazine, they had a special edition. There's only 150 copies of this, by the way. So good luck getting one. You're probably not going to be able to. So they have a playable edition of Tetris in the cover to the magazine. There was a pretty good teardown of this thing over on the their TikTok video I was looking at, actually. And there's the video. There you go. So it's been put together. It's sewn into the magazine cover. It's a little thicker, but it does just kind of feel like you're playing the magazine. The buttons are touch controls that are a part of that as well. You see it kind of in there. It's running like an ARM processor. That's really small. It's kind of like a wraparound thing they have on this magazine. So it gives a little bit of a spring to the buttons because of the way the magazine cover is. Really cool kind of thin technology. You can break out the USB and actually recharge the game. That'll probably work for about an hour and a half. Oh, this is the fun part. Oh yeah, they were told that it would work even if you hit it with a hammer, so they tried a hammer and it worked. So, yeah. So it's part of the Red Bull Bulletin. I don't know how you can get your hands on it. You probably can at this point because there's only 150 of them. But good luck from that, and I hope you like Red Bull. So there you go. A fun little gimmick. I wish it was a little wider, accessible, that a lot more people could get their hands on it. But
it also says of the magazine as a whole. Not even the playable ones, just the magazine as a whole. They only made 1,000, and it's only available in Europe. It looks like
in Europe, of course, Europe.
Yeah.
So, but maybe that's kind of the first run of these kinds of things too. Maybe they'll do some more of it later. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So there you go. Game Pop magazine and their Playable Tetris, and it's a nice little LED. I think they said about 150 LEDs. Or something like that made the game work. It was, relatively basic edition of Tetris that you could play. But hey, Tetris on anything, including a magazine cover, that's pretty cool. So, Dave, I know it's the last Tuesday in February. That means I believe this is our last Black History segment for the month.
It is, yes. So this is someone who, again, something that changed life, and now this is unlike other people who, there are other people I said, oh, and they're still alive or they just recently retired. He worked on something a while back, but his name was Frederick McKinley Jones, worked in mobile refrigeration. So if you think about before mobile refrigeration, if you wanted to ship something that needed to be cold, not just food, medicine, and other things, let's say by train, you had to get a giant block of ice, put it in the train car, and throw it in there. That's pretty much it. And same thing with trucks. It was hard to get anything that could have been cold longer distances. He served in the war. Let's see here. He enlisted in the Army in World War I because he had a long resume in mechanics. So he worked a bunch of stuff in World War I. He worked afterwards. In 1938, one of his colleagues was complaining about, all the food spoils. He said, you should have a refrigerator inside your truck. So he purchased an aluminum truck and went about, and he began working on a mobile refrigerator. After the war, of course, the war kind of stopped a lot of things that were commercial. But after the war, and you have the interstate system where trucking goes a lot more places, he rolled out this. If you ever heard Thermo King, the company, he was involved with actually founding Thermo King. It got bought out by another company in 1997, but at the time, Thermo King went to $1 billion in annual sales. Let's see here. He 60 patents over his career. In 1944, he became the first Black member of the American Society of Refrigeration Engineers. He was born 1893. Passed in 1961. But again, having long distance refrigeration, again, you can think, okay, well, food spoils less. You don't have to, you don't have to have chickens in your backyard.
Well, and even this was
things in longer.
A lot of salting and pickling would happen to help with these things. The dehydrating. I don't know if we had the technology for that back then, but yeah, so that really kind of closes the gap on that accessibility for things like food, right? And to the point where we have it in our houses, like people didn't have it in their houses.
Right.
It was like there was no way to store the food. There was no, and again, like I'm somebody who grew up on. We had the giant freezer in the back room where we put all the venison and meat that was piled up for that they got from the market or as I don't know where we got our meat from back then, but that was all part of that. So and I'm sure that populated mostly probably in the 50s and 60s before we got it. So not that long, actually. So yeah. So there you go. Thank you for that update there, Dave. Let me double check here. I think that is about all I had to talk about this week. I mean, we were Olympic heavy in the long run, weren't we?
Yeah. No, winter only happens every 4 years, and we have 2 more years until the Summer Olympics.
Woohoo!
In 28 in Los Angeles.
We'll see how that goes. So, staying away from LA for 2028, that's for sure. Oh God, I probably completely have to go to LA for 2028. Now I think about it. If we stay with our clients here,
Aero.
So, yeah, it'll probably be Aero. Now I think this is the year off of Aero here in 26, which means we'll be back for 27 and 28. So that's not the summer though. That's like April. Anywho, well, actually, it could be. I think we do in March sometimes too. It depends. Anyways, that's not here nor there. Dave Podnar, iPhoneography podcast. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yep, lots of stuff. We actually, our show last night, we actually interviewed someone and talked about his way of using iPhones in photos and very artistic look. So more, not necessarily about the technology, but more about the thought process of taking a photo. I
like it. Thank you so much. At Sorgatron, you can check out my travels over the last week or so. Again, out to Indianapolis. Not terribly exciting other than what we got to shoot. I'm still recovering from being sick. Guys, I got sick after the show last week. It was so bad. And of course, this weekend we had a lot of shows with our friends RWA, VCW across West Newton and West Virginia that got pretty crazy, actually. So, and so much more. Keep an eye on what's going on with this and our sister shows, Fish Without Bait, Wrestling Mayhem Show, Gaydon's Envy, and so much more over at sorgatronmedia.com, including upcoming wrestling events are actually happening from Sorgatron Media and Wrestling Mayhem Show. So thank you guys for joining us. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
I'm Eamon.
I'm Merlin.
And we're a gay.
And his NB.
Are you a reality television connoisseur?
Do you like it discussed from an LGBTQ lens?
If so, A Gay and His NB is the podcast for you.
Hear us break down all your favorite guilty pleasure reality shows from Bravo, Drag Race, and just about everything in between.
Listen to A Gay and His NB on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.